Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris. Every day I'm doing a vlog for 1,000 days. Yes, 1,000 days. And every day I talk about something uniquely different. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe will be awesome. So today, well, it's the 25th of January, and exactly a month ago, it was the 25th of December, which, as you know, is Christmas Day. And Christmas Day for me growing up as a child was so incredibly special. Mum, Dad, the rest of my siblings, a lovely roast dinner. It was just a perfect day. Opening presents, playing with my toys, like probably most children do. And it was so fantastic. It was lovely. And your childhood memories, I think, stay with you right through your adulthood. I'm 57 now. I recall and reflect back very often about some of the experience I had when I was a child. And for the most part, they were great. And I know that most people will reflect and have happy memories of that time. Your childhood is really funny, isn't it? It does stay with you forever. And it really shapes you, I think, as an adult. Maybe thinking about some of the challenges that you faced as a child. Maybe you still face them as an adult. So I remember getting up early one Christmas morning and unwrapping my presents with Mum and Dad and smelling the roast dinner cooking in the background. There was just a general feeling of familial warmth and love in the house. When I was a child, we had my grandparents living with us and my great uncle, which is my grandmother's brother. And it was a lovely time. It was great. We had a real community as well around us. We used to go to church. It was a very special time. I remember one particular Christmas, my mum would take us to midnight mass. And although I felt really tired as an 8, 9-year-old, it was something I'll never forget. And she obviously got an awful lot out of that. Now, whilst she raised us as Catholics, my dad wasn't really into religion. And as we got older, I think we slowly drifted away from the church style of living. Not that we were closely linked to it, but we developed our own sort of way of sort of living. I think ultimately, when you're a child, you do look at the rest of the adults around you, and that period of childhood can really reflect and mean an awful lot to you in your adulthood. So for me, I look back on my time with my brothers and sisters with fondness. I have happy memories of us all being sat around the table, having our, whether it's breakfast, our lunch, or our dinner together, the interactions between us all, the conversation, my dad being sat one end, my mum being sat at the other. It really was a unique, special time. And although I'm painting this sort of vision of what would have been something like the Waltons, it was an semblance of that, but it really wasn't completely that. And growing up in England in the 70s, it was a very special time. Of course, it was very unique because we didn't have the internet, mobile phones. I was the remote control. Whenever my mum wanted me to change channels, she would ask me to, Chris, change channels, and I would change channels. Now we have wonderful things like remote controls, which is so good. Thank goodness to the person who ever invented remote controls. And it's all these things that I remember as a child. We had to switch channels behind the TV. So I had to, whenever my mum wanted us to switch from BBC One to BBC Two or ITV, because there were only 3 channels, I used to switch over to either of those two. And most of the time, there was just rubbish on TV. And today we're absolutely spoiled. We've got everything, and digital streaming services. But today, yeah, it's great, and I love that. But back then, it was so much more simpler. And we did more as kids outside. I remember the park featuring an awful lot in my life. And it would mean me climbing trees, playing cricket with friends, playing football with friends, or soccer. It was a special, unique time. And of course, the friendships and the bonds that you made with other kids in the immediate area. It was just a different time. But I think every generation has its time, doesn't it? my son today, who's 10, he connects with other friends across the PlayStation network. He speaks with his buddies that way. He obviously goes to school. He doesn't have a cell phone, a mobile phone. And quite rightly, probably when he's mid-teenager, that might be something that I look at. Yeah, things have changed greatly. So my childhood compared to his childhood will be vastly different. The experiences that we both have will be unique to us, and we will bring those unique experiences forward. And of course, I had a tragedy when I was a child. When I was 8, my brother, who was 10, passed away, and that left an indelible mark. And I've talked about that in previous videos. So if you ever look back through, you'll see those videos. And one of my fondest memories as a child is in the summertime, going up to a place called Plymouth Hoe and swimming in the sea up there. It was readily accessible because it was a very, say, short walk, 1.5 miles, and I could go swimming. And how wonderful is that? How great was that as a child to be able to go and do and swim, and it was just lovely. And of course, other memories as a child. I remember my parents packing the car up early on Saturday mornings, and off we would go to a beach in Cornwall. And we go to this one regular beach called Seaton in Cornwall. When you look at it, it doesn't look anything special. But in the height of summer, that beach, well, it just gets filled up with people, and it's just a fantastic place. And of course, you'd see other families there enjoying themselves, having a swim, cooling off, having an ice cream. It's funny what you look back on as a child. So as a child, we are very much in our mindset. When we're an adult, we reflect on it so much. And it's those memories as a child that we pass on to our children. Maybe the warmth and the love and the gift sharing, we pass that on to them. And maybe that's the gift in what Christmas is the passing on of kindness, of warmth. And my childhood, I made childhood friends. I'm not in contact with any of them, but one of them later on in life actually was influential in me kickstarting my career. And for that, I will never forget. That was lovely. And as a child, looking forward, you hope that you turn into a successful adult. Back in the 70s, I never really had an understanding about what I was going to do. And it just sort of happened for me, where I ended up doing several jobs in between, eventually becoming what was a traffic warden. Then I migrated from the traffic warden department into the police. And after leaving the police of 24 years, I then went to work for a local government body. And I stayed there for a time before moving off again. So for me, change is inevitable in life. But the one constant that I've taken with me is the fact that my ability to change really stemmed from my childhood. I understood that growing as a child, as you grow every passing year, I think slowly but surely you are the same person, but you evolve. Not necessarily change, but evolve. You evolve into, you learn more, you appreciate more, you understand more. And of course, there are milestones as a child, isn't there? When you go off to high school, then from primary school, and then you meet all new friends. And I touched on the fact that as a child, I had something called osteomyelitis. And really, that took me out of the education system for probably a good couple of years. But it enabled me to spend a lot of time with my mum as a child, because she was poorly and at home. And that bond, that love grew, and it was very lovely. And I'll never forget that. Maybe that was a gift from the man upstairs. So my childhood memories are so important as an adult. So I think we all have these kind of things where childhood is so important in our lives. It really is. And that's why it's important if you do have children. It's difficult, I know, but it's trying to place the good memories in them. Trying to get them to have memories of being loved by their parent. Now, I co-parent my son. I'm not in a relationship, and I'm not with my son's mum. Sadly, I am treated with a degree of parental alienation. I'm completely locked out of my son's life other than what my court order says. I do have 3 child arrangement orders, and I've gone to court over 10 times for access with my son, and I've spent an awful lot of money on that endeavour. So if there is anyone out there that's experiencing parental alienation, you have to pursue that for the good and well-being of your child. If it's a mum or a dad, just don't give up. Just don't give up, because your child will appreciate it. And just remember, one thing in life is that you're an adult longer than you are a child. So just remember that too. And finishing off, my childhood, yeah, I look back with fondness. Happy and lucky that I had the family that I did, and happy and lucky that I really did win the lottery, having my mum and dad. Amazing people. And although not experts at raising children, are any of us? I would say not. But they gave it their all, and that I understood fully. As always, thank you so much. If you're not subscribed, subscribe would be great. Thank you so much for listening, and hey, different subject tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you. See you then. Bye.